Hello, I'm Madeline from Sheen Slings, and today I'm talking about Artipoppe carriers. So Artipoppe are a Dutch brand, and specifically they're a high-end fashion brand. They are really well known for making very high quality, carriers using really high quality materials in really fashion forward prints. And as such, their carriers come with a very high fashion price tag. So they're more basic models, their cottons, hemp, linen carriers are around £310 to £350, and then they have silk, cashmere, wool carriers which are around 400 to even 800, and then they even have some that are made from vicuna wool and silk blend that are over £3,000. Scary money. So I get asked all the time, and I was asked to make this video to what my opinions were on these carriers. And really, to answer this, I've got to answer it in two ways. I can tell you about the carrier, but also we've got to talk about the price. And the question I get most often is it worth it? Well, worth is in the eye of the beholder. Something's only ever worth what someone is prepared to pay for it. So I can really only answer for myself. And then I can talk to you about the carrier, and you can try and work out for yourself. But for myself, no. I mean, these are great carriers, and I will talk about why they are great carriers, but are they worth that price tag? Well, for me, no. And I mean, you can tell I'm not really into high-end fashion. I like what I like, but for me, I'm more about function rather than how something looks. And Artipoppe are a brand for people who are really about how something looks and don't mind so much about the function. So as a result, I don't have one in the library. So this is kind of strange to me. I'm talking about something and I'm not showing you how it works. I have tried them on several occasions, and I've worked with quite a few clients who have bought them, and they would answer, and at least the one I spoke to very recently would answer differently to me. She would say, yeah, it is worth it, because she really loves the look. She loves how it makes her feel when she wears it. Now she's happy. We went through the fitting, and now she's happy with how to fit it. You know, like, it makes her feel worth it. But for me, I don't have one in the library because I can't, with all good conscience, get out and recommend a carrier that's at least £300, very likely more, to somebody and say, oh yeah, this one fits you the best. Because actually, while it is a great carrier, there are loads of carriers on the market that will fit you just as well, that will do all the same things and not cost £300. Cost half that, actually. We're talking things that are able to do all the same things. I would expect you to pay somewhere between 120 and 170. So a Artipoppe carrier is more than double that. So for me, it's not worth it. But for somebody who's really into fashion, who really likes their prints, and also if you have that money, but again, I'm never going to tell somebody they need to spend that money, because you don't. If you have it and you want to, but then carry on listening and I will tell you all about the carriers. So the Artipoppe, so specifically I'm talking about the Zeitgeist. They do also make woven wraps, which work like any other woven wrap brand. They're just more expensive. And if you like it, again. But so the Zeitgeist carrier, this is the one I'm most often asked about. This is a full buckle carrier, and it is designed, it's very well designed and very well put together. It has a completely adjustable base. It's got some really heavy duty poppers that are in the inside, and a hidden part in the inside, so you can open it and you can adjust the width of the carrier from, they say from newborn, but in reality, I think generally once baby hits about 4 to 6 weeks, but depends on the baby. So my most recent client, her baby was born a little early, and so isn't quite fitting it yet, even though she is 4 weeks old. But generally for most babies, somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks, or babies that are born a little bit early, then maybe more like 8 weeks, then we can get it narrow enough that they can sit in it really nicely, and then it will grow with baby. And they have several poppers, so it will grow incrementally with baby to at least 2 years of age. And likewise, the height is less adjustable. You can do it a little bit in terms of how you sit baby in, and there is a headrest that can go up and down. So again, you can generally get this to work from about 4 to 6 weeks all the way through to around 2 years. And then in terms of positioning, the Artipoppe, theoretically, it does offer 4 positions. And so it used to actually be 3, but very recently they brought in the 4th, and I'll talk about that in a second. So it works best inwards facing you. That's how it works best. And it also does a really nice hip carry. I don't actually think they show that in the manual, I'm not sure, but it does. This is one I've worked with several clients that have Artipoppes. It does the hip carry really, really nicely. It then does also the back carry. Now this is a bit interesting. This is in the manual, but it lacks the interconnecting chest strap for a back carry. So most carriers that offer a back carry have an interconnecting chest strap just to stop the straps coming off your shoulders. Now, whether or not you need it depends a little bit on the shape of your shoulders. Some people find they have shaped shoulders that will hold straps very nicely and don't need to do the interconnecting strap. However, a lot of people, including me, find they need the interconnecting strap for security. Also, when you come to carrying an 18-month, 2-year-old, sometimes, particularly if you've got a little monkey like I do, or I did, they can quite enjoy doing this to try and throw the straps off your shoulders. This can be a fun game. So this strap is a bit of a safety feature. Now the Artipoppe don't have it. They don't have it because, again, this carrier is a high-end fashion and it's like a bit of an extra thing, and it would ruin the sleek lines of the carrier. So they don't have it. Instead, when it comes to back carry, they suggest you take a scarf, and they conveniently sell them for lots and lots of money. You take a beautiful scarf and you tie it around as a fashion accessory. You don't need one of their expensive scarves. You can use a scarf, or you can use a ribbon, or a little buckle. I actually have them from another carrier called the Connector, which you can buy for £5, which is a lot cheaper than an Artipoppe scarf. So yeah, it offers the back carry, but it is worth saying with a caveat that you need an extra thing that you don't get to do it. And now more recently, they've offered the outward facing carry. Now this I find really interesting because they didn't offer this for many, many years, but very, very recently in the last year, they've offered this, and they've offered it through adding on an extra little bit. This bit, I believe, is now coming with all the carriers that are now being bought, but the older ones, I think you can get one from Artipoppe. I don't know if you have to pay or not, but it can be retroactively applied if you already have an Artipoppe carrier and you don't have the bit. And the idea with the bit is that you attach it to the inside of the carrier so you don't see it. It doesn't ruin the sleek lines of your carrier, and it cinches the panel a little bit to let the legs go wide. To let the legs go outwards in the outward facing carry. Now, I haven't actually seen one, and I haven't actually seen it in this position, but I've seen the pictures that Artipoppe have released, and it looks very wide. I'm not sure how comfortable it is, but I can understand that this is something that people wanted. I had a client a couple of years back when they weren't offering this, who bought an Artipoppe and really liked the look of it, but was then really upset to find out that she couldn't outward face her baby, and she ended up actually replacing it with another carrier and really felt like it was not worth it because they didn't do it. So I understand why they brought it in, but if you were really looking for a carry that you want to outward face, then I wouldn't recommend the Artipoppe, because I don't think the positioning and how it adjusts is as good as, say, something like the Ergo Omni Breeze or the Ergo Omni Dream or the Tula Free to Grow. Both of those are going to give you a lovely, like a nicer outward facing position, and particularly not Tula Free to Grow, sorry, my mistake, Tula Explore. And particularly the Tula Explore also comes in really great prints, including some really fashion forward prints. So it could be a really good alternative, and is half the price at £150 versus £300. So what do I think of the Artipoppe? It is actually a really good carrier. It offers 2 positions really well, theoretically 4. Do I think it's as good as other things on the market? Not particularly. I mean, it's good, but there are lots of other things that are just as good, maybe even better. In terms of how it fits parents, being a high-end fashion brand, it does fit petite people particularly well. You do have to toggle the straps at the back a bit to make them a bit shorter, but it fits petite people really well. It fits most sizes. I'm not sure how well it does on the plus size spectrum. Artipoppe also are a brand that are known for not being particularly inclusive. They have fallen foul of making very interesting adverts that are parent shamey. They've fallen foul of cultural appropriation in the past. So they're not really the world's most inclusive brand, and another reason I have steered clear of them for the library, because I feel a little bit uncomfortable with some of their choices in the past, particularly when it comes to advertising and how they've dealt with accusations of cultural appropriation and lack of inclusivity. I mean, we all make mistakes. I make loads of mistakes, but I believe in how you deal with it, and Artipoppe haven't usually been very open or very willing to deal with when they have made mistakes. So yeah, definitely for petite parents and more average to larger bodies, but particularly people more on the plus size of the spectrum are probably not going to fit this carrier particularly well. So I hope that's been helpful. If you do have any questions about Artipoppe or anything, please let me know. Please do like and comment if you found this helpful, and do subscribe to the channel. Bye bye.